Happy Halloween! Ooh. Welcome to Bloodhouse, the show where we talk about art house horror movies. I'm your host, Joshua Conkle.
And I am your spooky Halloween co-hostess, Dracula Adeline. Welcome to our first Halloween episode and special.
Yes, very excited. As with all of our special episodes so far, we have decided to do a double feature. But first, Drusilla, how are you? How's it going?
It's going pretty well. I'm having a good time. I mean, it's October in Los Angeles. This is my favorite time of year.
It.
And honestly, I live in LA year round. If I only had to be in LA one time of year, it would be October. There's so much going on. There's so much beauty. It's been so overcast and foggy every single day.
Love it so much.
There's pumpkin patches just outside the city. Every single theater is showing a myriad of horror movies, whether it's the New Beverly and the New Art showing tons of like old school stuff, or even there's a new Halloween movie in theaters. If that's your bag, it's not mine, but like...
Nor mine.
But like, the whole city is feeling it. We've got Universal doing all of their big horror mazes and haunted houses, and the whole city feels like itchy and alive with this, and I love it so much. It's my favorite time of year.
The whole city's like, this is Halloween, and it's the best. I just went to the Los Feliz Haunted Hayride, which I do every year, and it was a little empty this year, which surprised me. I don't know if it's because I went on a Thursday or what, but...
That might be it.
Usually it's packed, and it's pretty early. We were there at 7:30, and it opens at 7, so it's probably that too. Yeah, I love this. It makes me miss Seattle a little bit, where the weather is like this most of the year. But this is LA at its best. I love winter in LA.
Me too. It's magical. Best. It's such a specific... It's such a weird climate because it doesn't get like cold the way that the East Coast and the Midwest does, which I love. Yeah. I lived in Chicago by choice. Like, I love the winters. I love the snow. That's my bag. I just wish I could get that, and then that summer would be winter in LA.
Yeah, I mean, yes. So winter in LA is fun because you can layer. So fashion-wise, you can get more adventurous. You really can't layer for most of the year in Los Angeles.
No, it's foolish.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like it's just chilly enough without it being like actively cold. It's foggy, it's overcast, and like because of that, people flee the city. No one wants to be here this time of year. They go elsewhere. And so there's less people around. People are inside a little bit. It's so great. This is the time to go to flea markets and go to get apple cider and curl up on the couch with a good horror movie.
Since you mentioned the new Halloween, can I just say something about it that bugs me?
Go ahead. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen any of the trilogy, and I have no intentions to.
So I saw an early screening of it a couple of weeks ago, and I hated it, which I said on the show. It's out now to the world, and so everyone's seen it. And I'm noticing this phenomenon in the horror community, where suddenly this community, which argues so much and can be so uncharitable and unkind, sometimes they'll coalesce together in this like Mickey Mouse ass club way where they stick up for a random movie. And it's always like, this is like a $30 million movie by a multimillionaire, and suddenly everyone has to come to its defense. And my friend pointed out this funny phenomenon where he's like, everyone keeps tweeting the same thing. Well, he said actually white men keep tweeting the same thing, which is the movie tried really hard, or the movie took a wild swing, and I'm not sure it delivered, but A for effort, and it's like, no, this is a multi-million-dollar movie. This is a giant movie. Like,
that's so funny because that's something that literally a white man said to me 2 nights ago about the new Halloween movie. He literally said to me almost exactly that. And this is someone who isn't on Twitter, and I was like, what?
My brother in Christ, we are not at film school. A $30 million movie should not swing and fail and get an A plus. But the funny thing is like, this is in direct conversation with the subject of our show. If this were a $1 million movie by a brand new filmmaker that was divisive, no one would stick up for it. It's just this weird mega, I don't know, it's this huge franchise made by a multimillionaire, and I don't know why people feel the need to stick up for it. The movie's not good. And you can like it, but it's just not good. There's no world where this is good. It's not a good movie.
Also, just because it's Michael Myers and just because you've seen Michael Myers before doesn't mean it has to be good. It's okay for them to be bad. Most of them are bad. Even from the metric of enjoying a Halloween movie, Halloween Resurrection is trash.
Garbage.
Halloween 5 is trash.
Garbage.
Halloween 6 is trash. It doesn't matter if you have the producer's cut. They're both bad.
Yeah. I love Halloween 2, and I think
I love Halloween 2.
I know that you think it's better than the first one. That's crazy.
I do. It's better.
I think the first movie is the only legitimately good Halloween film. I do really like Halloween 2. It's super fun. I really like H2O.
You are the curmudgeon. You are the one curmudgeon in the room left over who is like, no, Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is trash. Josh, it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be wrong.
That movie
it's very fun. Tom Atkins is a daddy.
Sucks. Anyway, all I wanted to say is, like, you don't have to stick up for multi-million-dollar giant franchise films. Like, if you're going to stick up for somebody, stick up for some young new filmmaker who's just made their first film. Like, that's my point.
Go flip through Shudder, find something you've never heard of, give that a watch, and then go tweet about that. Speaking about sticking up, the horror community finding trash movies to stick up for and defend to their last breath, I rewatched something recently.
Oh boy.
That has a 4.6 on IMDb, has a pretty generally low rating on Letterboxd, and is kind of generally regarded to be a bad movie.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I love and adore, and I was having a conversation with my therapist recently, and she brought it up, being like, have you seen this movie? And I was like, yes, I love that movie.
And wait, your therapist, if I remember right, is like a Gen X goth, right?
Yes. Who once followed Tool on tour.
Okay, great.
Recently. I love her so much. Like a few days after my therapist was like, have you seen that movie? And we got into like a whole conversation about how we both love this movie and everyone's wrong for not liking it. A friend of mine was at a thrift store a few days later and sent me a picture of like, hey, they have this and its sequel. Do you want these? And I was like, yes. So we watched Dracula 2000 and its sequel, Dracula 2: Ascension.
I had no idea the second one even existed.
There's three.
Oh my god. I got a psychic sense that you were going to say Dracula 2000 just before you said it. I've never seen it.
Okay. Everyone shits on this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I legitimately don't know why. I think it might just be the title. It was produced by Wes Craven. It was directed by and written by Patrick Lussier, who was Wes Craven's editor for all of the 90s. And he went on to direct the My Bloody Valentine 3D remake.
That was pretty fun, if I remember right.
Yeah.
I saw that in the theater.
It's kind of a hoot. And he directed all of these Dracula movies. The first one was like a big major release, and then the other two were like direct-to-video sequels. But it's Gerard Butler as Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
It is from the year 2000. Christopher Plummer as Van Helsing. And then the supporting cast is Johnny Lee Miller, fresh off of Trainspotting.
Oh, we loved him.
Jennifer Esposito, Omar Epps, Jerry Ryan, Vitamin C, and unfortunately Danny Masterson.
The only thing I knew about it was that Vitamin C was in it, and she works at the Virgin Megastore. Is that right?
She works at the Virgin Megastore, and there's a scene in which she's putting Vitamin C CDs on the shelf. It is like, God, it's very campy, but also super fun.
Is it intentionally campy, or is it?
I think not so much.
Okay.
But, like, as compared to
That's
other
often the
Johnny
best
Lee
kind.
Miller films from the era, it's aged better than Hackers has.
Yes, I just rewatched Hackers.
And, like, Gerard Butler is actually really good as Dracula. He's got, like, no lines. He's just there and has to look sexy.
Mhm.
Everyone's freaking great. Omar Epps is great. The thing that I love about this movie is that it's set in New Orleans. It has like that same kind of New Orleans vibe that the 80s Cat People has, where it's like super late night, super horny, weird, decaying New Orleans. And it does so much with Dracula lore while also paying tribute to the Bram Stoker novel. There's like whole homages to passages from the book and the idea of Dracula, but then they add so much new shit on top of it that is so like needless and weird. Like this movie has a twist ending about the true identity of Dracula, and it's fucking insane, but also being like filmed insanely gorgeously. Like the last third of this movie looks like an Argento movie.
Oh, wow.
It's ridiculous. It's so much fun. For some reason, everyone on Letterboxd has given it 2 stars. They're wrong. Everyone gets turned into a vampire in this movie. They all love being turned into a vampire. They all have a good time. Everyone's just hot and horny and wandering around looking for blood and sex. It's great. I can't say enough about it. Just give it a rewatch or give it a watch for the first time. You will be pleasantly surprised by how fun it is.
I don't remember it's coming out or like the trailers for it or anything. I have no recollection of it. I'm not sure the first time I remember hearing about this was, I believe, in 2003 when I worked as the DVD merchandiser at Virgin Megastore in Union Square in New York City, and someone mentioning that it took place partially at Virgin Megastore in New Orleans. I think that's how I learned about the movie even existing. Vitamin C I know and love from Hairspray 1988.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's an executive at Nickelodeon. Good for her.
Good for her.
Yeah, I want to watch that. I haven't seen it.
It's a delight. And Dracula 2, Ascension, with Bruce Lee's son as a kung fu priest who hunts vampires very Blade style.
Brandon Lee? Is it Brandon Lee?
Jason Scott Lee.
Oh, okay.
I think Brandon Lee had passed by that point.
Gosh, he died so early.
I know.
Yeah.
It's very different, but it is supposed to be a direct sequel, and they have a completely different man playing Dracula. And there's a throwaway line at some point in the movie by Roy Scheider as a priest who shows up for one scene, being like, oh, he may change his appearance between incarnations, but he's always Dracula. And you're like, whatever, he's a different man. But they've given him the Spike effect in that he is in a big black trench coat, he is shirtless the entire movie, and he has like high cheekbones and slick back blonde hair. And they just have him chained up in like an empty swimming pool the whole movie. And he's like decayed and like slowly getting back to himself. And it's not until like the end that you finally see him. And he's so hot. It's really fucked up at what point I start to find him hot, because it's not the end. Yeah, it's really upsetting. I watched those movies on like late night cable in probably middle school, if not younger, so they were very formative to my idea of horror movies, vampires, and kind of my sexuality. And rewatching them recently was like, oh yeah, no, these did a lot for me.
Formative.
These fucked me up.
Yeah.
But they're delightful, and honestly, if you're looking for something that's like as horror and gory, but also like super fun and funny and with great soundtrack, like give these movies a shot. They do not disappoint. They're a fucking hoot.
Those are good recs.
Dracula 3, I can't speak on. I don't remember it very well, other than it being kind of shitty and Rutger Hauer being Dracula.
Oh God.
Yeah, not a choice I would choose voluntarily. But like Dracula wins in one of them. He like turns the girl and they go off together. And like that's how Dracula movies should end.
I agree. At least part of the time.
Come on. Have you watched anything to get into the seasonal mood?
I have. Well, I just got the new House of Psychotic Women box set that
Yes.
Kier Janice curated, and I've gotten through half of the 4 movies I watched so far. Footprints, aka Footprints on the Moon, which I loved.
AKA The Orm.
Yeah.
One of
and
the weirdest giallo films ever made.
Yes, it is a very weird movie. It's very arty-farty, very languorous, but really beautiful. It's filmed on an island off of Italy or Greece or somewhere. Gorgeous. The little girl in it, I believe, is the little girl in one of our movies that we're going to talk about today.
I think you're right.
But the one that I loved even more than that is the weird Polish 80s comedy I Like Bats, about a woman who becomes a vampire. And it's so weird and funny, and it's set at a beautiful mental institution. And I don't know. These are also streaming on Shudder, all 4 of these movies, I believe, so they're really worth a watch. The other 2 that I haven't watched yet are Identikit, starring Elizabeth Taylor in one of her last roles. And the last movie is called The Otherside of Underneath, which I believe is an avant-garde film adaptation of an off-Broadway play from the 70s. So
sounds about right.
You're getting the full gamut.
Those movies are freaking incredible. I really need to watch I Like Bats. It's been on my list for months now.
You would really love it. It has your vibes big time.
All of the posters for it are so fucking cool.
I know. That Polish one I sent you is really cool.
The like clown face with the boobs out. It's so
with
goddamn
the big
funny.
boobs. Yeah. I loved I Like Bats. I'm going to think about it all the time now.
I might watch it tonight. I've been
it's
watching
really good.
I've been weirdly, so every October I always watch nothing but horror movies. And I typically pick a theme to it of like, oh, I'm going to watch like 80s slashers this year. Or I'm going to watch like kind of like cozy kids, a haunted house kind of movies this year. I didn't pick a theme this year, but it's kind of discovered itself. I'm just watching vampire movies this year. I didn't plan on it. It just happened. And I'm fucking loving it. Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
So
well,
yeah,
I like
need
Bats
to watch
Fits.
more.
Well, we already hinted at the movies today. We are doing a true Bloodhouse arty-farty double feature. You can't get more arty-farty than this. We are doing a double feature of Andy Warhol's Flesh for Frankenstein and Andy Warhol's Blood for Dracula.
Andy Warhol's Frankenstein is here. Kiss him! Kiss him! Newsweek magazine calls it the first original Frankenstein in years. A perversely fascinating movie.
Only close. Ah! Not so close! I can't... Stop it! What are you doing? I can't breathe! Stop it! Stop it!
Andy Warhol's Frankenstein, with its swooping bats, severed limbs, hideous decapitating devices, and various spirits.
So I thought it would be cool to talk about these 2 movies as a pair for a little bit before we dive into them one by one. Unlike the Suspiria double feature, because those movies are so different and basically have nothing to do with one another.
These movies have a lot
in common.
Yeah.
So the first one was Flesh for Frankenstein, which was made in 1973. And basically, at the end of that, the men just cut their hair shorter and they went right into production for Blood for Dracula.
If I recall correctly, because again, Andy Warhol like put his name on these as a producer.
Yes, these are actually directed by Paul Morrisey.
Yeah.
They have nothing to do with Andy Warhol. Someone asked him what his involvement was, and he said, literally, I went to the parties.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
I love him for that. Yeah, I believe they were just made with the intention of making a Frankenstein movie in 3D. And then they got over to Europe, finished it, and were like, well, we got time to kill. Let's do Dracula.
Yeah. Yeah, and unfortunately, both of them, I mean, this whole project, this endeavor, was the brainchild of Roman Polanski, who mentioned it as a joke. And then they made it. And Roman Polanski's actually in Blood for Dracula in a small role.
In a very weird
shock.
little cameo.
Yeah, I completely forgot that he was in it. And I was like, oh, there's a moment. And so this is a little bit of a tangent. There's this video that I'm obsessed with. It's Kris Jenner's 30th birthday video that she made in the 80s, and it's a spoof of Randy Newman's I Love LA, but it's her and her Corvette, and it's like, I love my friends, and it's like so toxic and embarrassing. But there's one moment where like different friends of hers are spinning around and revealing themselves and saying, we love her, and one of them is OJ Simpson, and it's very jarring because he spins around and it's OJ, and he's like, we love her. And that's how I felt when Roman Polanski showed up in Blood for Dracula. I literally went,
oh my god.
But both of these movies obviously are sort of like Hammer horror, Universal monster tangential, but they take the story and really sex it up and add a lot more cartoon violence, sort of in the way that Mario Bava did with these films, but more so. So
yeah, with a lot more gore than Bava ever did, and a lot more sex than Bava ever did. These are very much the like New York underground answer to those movies. Yeah,
and they're kind of like art house Skinamax movies. I mean, they have the quality of porn acting a lot of the time.
Yes, they do.
Sometimes for good and sometimes for bad. Where do you even begin? I guess both of these movies star the same three men, which is Udo Kier, who plays Frankenstein and or Dracula. Then you have Joe Dallesandro playing a version of the same character in both movies, essentially. And then you have Arno Jörnig, who plays Udo Kier's assistant in both films. The women and the peripheral cast changes, but those three men at the center of both of these. And yeah, I mean, I guess we could just start with Flesh for Frankenstein. This is a reinvention of the Frankenstein story. Udo Kier plays Frankenstein, and he already has a female monster, and he needs to create a male monster so that they'll breed and create a quote-unquote master race, which Frankenstein will control.
Yep, classic shit.
Classic eugenics story.
And he lives in a big castle with his two creepy kids and his sister wife.
Yes, his sister and his wife.
Same person.
Also, the male monster he needs to create has to be somebody who's really horny, so that, I mean, this is like a direct plot point, so that, I don't know, so that they'll want to mate more.
The idea is that Udo Kier looks at his female monster and he's like, who would wanna fuck that? We'll need to get a man who would wanna fuck anything.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus, guy.
Similarly, his sister wife is really horny and lonely because Frankenstein is always working, and there's a farmhand played by Joe Dallesandro. Now, Joe Dallesandro is maybe the hottest man who ever lived in this era. I mean, if you don't know who he was in all of Andy Warhol's movies. He's on the cover of one of the Smiths records. He was just like such a beautiful man in the 60s and 70s.
The song Walk on the Wild Side is partially about him.
Little Joe from Walk on the Wild Side is Joe Dallesandro. He just could not be hotter, and you see his full dick and ass many times in this movie. I think this movie's a bit more fun than Blood for Dracula is.
They're very different in terms of their tone, and which is why whenever we watch Flesh for Frankenstein, I watch it with friends so that we could kind of like react and respond and kind of like laugh at it a little bit. But then I watch Blood for Dracula by myself, treating it more as an art film, and I feel like that kind of works better somehow.
I think Flesh for Frankenstein is a bit campier. It has more violence, more sex. It has a queer element that's more obvious than the queer element in Blood for Dracula, I think.
I feel like Blood for Dracula is much more obvious queerness, but we can get into that.
You do?
There's lesbians, my guy! There's lesbian
Oh.
sex scenes.
Of course. I forget that lesbians are queer.
You say this while I'm wearing a Mega
right.
Dyke shirt.
No, you're right. That's my bad. I was only thinking of myself. You're totally right.
There is a good deal of male homoeroticism in Flesh of Frankenstein. Like, that's a main plot point.
Yes.
So Frankenstein wants to get, like, he's got the body for the male, but he needs a head. So he needs a brain and he needs a nozzle, a good Aryan nose.
Yeah.
And so he's like, okay, I know what we'll do. We'll go to the local, what's the proper
Brothel.
term? Brothel, thank you. And find the men who'll fuck anything, like the women down at the brothel. Meanwhile, Joe Dallesandro is taking his friend who intends to become a monk to the brothel for the first time to get him laid one time before he's gonna become a monk.
Mm-hmm.
And the monk just so happens to be stepping out, who is also incredibly hot and has this nice, like, mane of gold and blonde hair.
I mean, everybody in both of these movies is hot from, like, top to bottom, essentially.
Except for Otto. Otto can fuck off. That the skeevy little perv assistant in both movies, he ain't cute.
I think he's really cute. I have to be honest, I think he's really cute.
When he's got his tongue flapping out?
Yeah. I think he's cute.
I think Udo's the hottest in these movies, but that's just me.
Beautiful. I mean, when he takes his shirt off in Blood for Dracula and he's just dressed like Lux from the Cramps with his tight, skinny little black jeans and no shirt. Gorge. So anyway, yes, Joe Dallesandro has taken his friend to a brothel to lose his virginity. His friend is clearly in love with him and gay, and that becomes a problem later because Frankenstein shows up to the brothel to find their perverted man. They see two sex workers who have been properly dicked down come out with their tops off and they're panting because they've had such great sex. And then the friend comes out, and so they think, oh, great, here's our horny man. And they chop his head off. But what they don't know is that it was Joe Dallesandro and not this guy that gave these two sex workers such a good dicking down. So they've got the wrong man, which is a problem because they have the brain of a gay man who they now want to mate with their female monster. And you can see why that doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Meanwhile...
Pretty disappointing for Udo.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the lady of the house has fallen for Joe Dallesandro's character and has basically hired him to be her fuckboy / handyman and bring him inside the castle. So he's just like, there's like, I don't know, a dozen sex scenes between these two.
A lot of armpit action.
Yeah, she weirdly like sucks on his armpit. It's like she's trying to give him a hickey on his armpit.
She gets like full whiffs. I was watching this with some friends, and all of the most fucked up comments about this movie came from my friend who, like, was a sorority girl and, like, the most, like, straight-laced, like, Hoosier, like, Indiana girl that I hang out with. And during that scene, she was like, she's really into pit play, huh? And I was like, pit play? Ma'am.
Yeah.
You said that too fast.
Yeah, this movie has some wild stuff. There's a scene where Udo Kier, Frankenstein, is on the slab on top of the female body who has not come back to life, and he opens a wound in her stomach and starts fucking it with his hand to the point of orgasm. And then he says something like, to understand life, you must fuck death in the gallbladder.
Yep. It's top tier. That's one of those moments that... So, I saw these movies back in high school.
Yeah.
And that moment has stayed with me my entire life.
It's great.
Also watching that scene last night, so he's, like, mounted on her. He, like, walks towards her, and then they, like, move the table down so that he's on top of her. And he's, like, dry humping, or just, like, hump from... We don't see below his waist, but it's very obvious that there's some motion happening south of the border, while his hand is, like, inside of her chest cavity. And so... Again, watching this with a bunch of friends the other night, we were all like, whoa, gross, he's got his hand in there and he's getting off. And as soon as that scene ended, my friend from Indiana, who again, sorority sister, the most straight-laced one of us, who kept saying the most fucked up things about this movie, she was like, "Oh, he was trying to feel his dick through her wound." And I was like, "That's the most fucked up shit I've ever heard in my life."
Oh my god.
That's, oh my good god. I'm sure that's the idea. That's fucked up. How did none of us deviants think of that and your brain went there? Oh my god.
It's amazing.
It's
This
super.
movie-
Her also, like, while he's like feeling around in her guts one time, her eyes open, she looks down at him and then closes her eyes again, and you're like, wait, no, that's worse.
This movie also has the wildest decapitation that I've ever seen when they chop off the friend's head to take to the castle. It just, I can't even describe it, except that it's sort of like the scene in Frankenhooker where the sex workers explode, because you can tell that they're just quick shots of mannequins where there's not exploding so much as parts are just flying off of them because it's clearly mannequins. That's the feeling you get from this. It just looks wild. It's delightfully
helped
campy and
by the fact that this movie was intentionally filmed in 3D.
I always forget that.
Which, if you have the new Vinegar Syndrome box set, they do have a 3D option for 3D TVs and a version with the red and blue glasses.
Wow.
So you can watch it in 3D. I've yet to do that. I need to. But they literally, like, pull the head towards the camera. And it's like, the eyes are still blinking as blood is just, like, gushing out of the neck wound.
Yeah.
It's so
There's
funny.
also some David Cronenberg kind of body stuff going on. There's a scene where I believe it's Otto, the assistant, is like licking the sewed up wound on the female Frankenstein monster. It reminded me of Crash when they lick the medical tattoo.
There's also a scene where, like, Udo Kier just very, like, fetishistically, like, runs his hands up the, like, internal scars of his female monster, and then goes back down and starts slowly undoing every single suture. It's very methodical, and it's super fucking gross. There's also a scene in which Otto chases the assistant woman, the wife's kind of like handmaiden, into a room, like flanking his tongue at her, corners her, and then we cut away, and then when we cut back, she's dead on the floor with her guts out, and you're like, did he lick her stomach open? What the fuck? How did that happen?
Let's talk about Joe Dallesandro for a minute. I mean, we already have a little bit. Joe Dallesandro is a bisexual icon. He was a sex worker, IRL. He had a thick Queen's accent. So these are period pieces, both. So when he shows up, especially in Flesh for Frankenstein, which is like, I don't know, 1700s Germany or something.
It's accent soup, both of these movies.
Yeah, I mean, everyone just has, I mean, you have the full array of accents, but his is egregiously inappropriate because it's a contemporary, like, Queen's accent. So he's like, Dr. Frankenstein. He's like, hey, Dracula.
Hey, Dracula,
like
you get off those virgins, you sick fuck.
But I actually, as I watched both movies in 24 hours for this, and I found it charming, sort of. And it reminded me of what we said a few episodes ago about Keanu Reeves in Bram Stoker's Dracula. Like, it's inappropriate casting that kind of works in some way. I found it charming, and I would argue that he's, like, a good actor, actually.
He is, especially, I mean, I feel like he has a better role in Blood, but he's giving it, like, he's having a good time. And, like...
Yeah.
In both films, there's a climactic scene in which he figures out what's going on. He's sort of the hero of these movies.
Yes,
even sort of.
Kind of, like, in Blood for Dracula, especially, just constantly raping people.
Like, he literally has a line in Blood for Dracula where he's like, where's your younger sister? I'd like to rape her. And they're like, she's 14. And he's like, well, I give her a good raping. And you're like, are you the... I think he's supposed to be the villain in that one. Having heard interviews with Paul Morrisey and his very conservative beliefs on communism and socialism. It feels like Joe is the villain in that one. I don't fucking know with Flesh.
Yeah, he's just, I don't know if there's anyone that the camera loves as much as it loves Joe Dallesandro.
I mean, he's constantly shirtless, and when he's not shirtless, even just suspenders and a very tight top does a lot for him. And I mean, he was in, like, Crybaby, he was in, like, he had a fucking...
But by that point, he was, like, middle-aged or older, you know?
Yeah, but yeah, those 60s and 70s Warhol movies with him, like Flesh and Trash and Heat and Lonesome Cowboys, are just gore. I guess the Paul Morrisey movies that Andy Warhol slapped his name on, are gorgeous, and he's great.
And he did go on to your point, he did go on to have a whole other career where he played kind of like mafia men in the 80s and 90s. I just haven't seen any of that stuff because it's not my bag, but he did do other stuff after Warhol and continued to have this great career.
He even went over to Italy for a while, and France, and did art films in France. He's in a Serge Gainsbourg film. He did, like, Italian Policetti crime films. Like, he had a good time. But these movies are really the ones to watch because, I mean, it's just him dicking people down the whole time.
Yeah. And you just referenced this, but I didn't know until reading the wiki for these that Paul Morrisey is an avowed right-winger, self-described right-winger.
Yeah.
I didn't really get that from his movies, especially since he's like the first person who ever cast trans women as lead roles in his movies and all this really cool progressive queer stuff. It really surprised me. Right
before we hopped on, there's an interview with him on the latest Severin Blu-ray release of Blood for Dracula. And 5 minutes into this interview, he was talking about how he hated 60s culture because there's all these stupid young kids getting swayed away by all this sex and drugs and rock and roll that he couldn't abide, and because it was all being controlled by these anti-Christian commie lovers. And I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then he went on to tell like a really like touching story about working with Holly Woodlawn, and I was like, oh, but he like loved to work with trans women, and then immediately follows it up by being like, which was crazy because she was a dude, and you're like, god damn it. Fuck me. Okay, I mean, never mind.
2 steps forward, 1 step back, I guess.
He was just like a weird underground filmmaker who wanted to make weird underground films, who just happened to be friends with Andy Warhol at the time. He hates Andy Warhol now. He's still alive, by the way. And was just... I went with like who was around at the time and like put him in his movies and did all that stuff. Which is why the, like, male homosexuality in Flesh for Frankenstein is just implied. And the kind of sapphic stuff in Blood for Dracula is very overt. Because there's a very hetero dude behind these two movies.
Yeah. The reason I had said that earlier about Blood for Dracula being less queer, I mean, obviously I was forgetting about lesbians. And I'm sorry, that's my implicit bias, I guess, at work. But there are a lot of sexual assaults in Blood for Dracula, and they're treated... I mean, people who listen to this podcast will know how in 70s movies sometimes there were like a lot of rapes, and they're not filmed in a way that's really traumatic enough that we need to give like trigger warnings or things like that, because the movie treats them as like casual and normal. But it's just like a very male gaze kind of thing that really isn't present in Flesh for Frankenstein.
No, it really isn't. Unless,
so in that way,
unless you're talking about fucking gallbladders, and then the male gaze is all over her gallbladder in that movie. Blood for Dracula is so rapey.
Yeah, well, let's talk about it. I mean, Blood for Dracula is the Dracula story. Obviously, Udo Kier here plays Dracula. He has to leave Romania because there are no more virgins there for him to eat. He can only drink virgin blood. So he decides to go to Italy, where everyone is Catholic, and perhaps there he will find someone to eat. And so he finds a family that have 4 daughters, and they are sort of struggling aristocrats. They've lost their fortune, but they're still living on the estate, and they are placing their bets on Dracula choosing one of their daughters for his bride. And of course, things go south. And of course, we also have Joe Dallesandro again as a communist farmhand who's fucking all of the daughters, basically, except for two of them. And we have Arno Jornig, who was Otto, the assistant in the last movie. Here, he is Dracula's sort of keeper, caretaker character. So you've got the same trio of lead men again.
But we get a bigger, in my eyes, this movie has a bigger star-studded supporting cast of European, like, art house faces. We get Vittorio De Sica, the director of Bicycle Thieves.
Yes, who wrote all of his own dialogue in this movie, could not understand a single word he says in this entire movie.
Okay, he wrote all of his own dialogue, but he spends the entire movie being like, Dracula, a beautiful name, an aristocratic name. You can hear it in the sound. Dracula. He just says Dracula over and over and over again. He's like, some people are wine tasters. I am a name taster. Dracula, a beautiful name. My daughters will love it. And you're just like, what are you on, man?
Yeah.
He's a delight. We also, as we alluded, have a cameo by Roman Polanski, which is unfortunate, but it's a very funny scene. But the biggest casting is Milena Vukotic, who plays the eldest daughter Esmeralda, who art house listeners of this podcast would recognize from Fellini's Juliet of the Spirits, Tarkovsky's Nostalgia, Buñuel's Phantom of Liberty, The Street Charm of the Bourgeoisie, and That Obscure Object of Desire.
Wow, that's very pedigreed resume.
She's incredible.
She's very good in this.
And every time I watch this movie, I'm like, yes, the four daughters. Oh, yeah, and her.
Yeah. The other daughters are so bad in this, too.
They're incredible.
I mean, they can't afford help at their estate anymore, so the daughters are doing the farm work the first time we meet them. And they're all European from different countries, and literally, it's like a bad porn scene where, but you know, whenever you watch a supercut on YouTube of like porn acting with all the sex scenes cut out, that's what this feels like, because they've got hoes and rakes and they're doing farm work in their like period costumes, and one is like, it is so hot, let us get more comfortable, and so they take off their tops and are just doing farm work with their boobies out before they get in trouble.
Well, to the middle sisters are having a sexual dalliance with Joe Dallesandro, but they're also having a romantic and sexual relationship with each other.
Yes, both of these movies have incest in them.
Yes. And I should also point out that the third youngest sister, the youngest of the two that are in an incestuous sapphic relationship with each other, is played by Stefania Cassini, who was Sarah in Suspiria. The one who falls in the razor wire.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And I also really want to point out really fast that in Blood for Dracula, she has this like very curly, gorgeous red hair, very coppery, and she has it tied in the middle with kind of a lavender colored bow. She looks exactly like the like female love interest from Disney's Hercules.
Oh, wow.
It's
right,
really weird.
I
feel like they based her off of her.
Unlike Flesh for Frankenstein, this is taking place in like the 1910s or 20s, I would guess, based on their costumes. It's pre-fascist.
And the cars.
Yeah, yeah. So you have that beautiful, you know, Edwardian sort of fashion sense here. This movie's really beautiful to look at, and the
costumes
really
in both of these movies are incredible. But Udo Kier has this like black fur-lined coat at the beginning of Blood for Dracula that is one of the most gorgeous garments I've ever seen.
Yeah. I do still think that Flesh for Frankenstein is more fun. I don't know that I would say that this movie is better, but it is, it's more languid, so that's going to make it harder for some people to watch.
It is a slower film, significantly.
It's got a sense of sadness to it. The score is really depressing but beautiful. I know there's just something sad about this movie, which is appropriate for a vampire movie.
Dracula is sick the entire film, which is something that I've heard a lot of people like. Yeah, I've heard people knock on this movie being like, that's not Dracula. And I'm like, But that's a good take on Dracula, of having him be like sickly and lethargic, and he can only eat virgin blood if he consumes
Slut blood.
tainted slut blood. The blood of these whores is killing me, Anton. I just want my coffin back. He throws up the blood, and like a beautiful convalescing performance by Udo Kier. He just like shakes with every like muscle in his body and throws up all of this blood into bathtubs and toilets.
And I think it actually is a traditional take on Dracula, who, don't forget, is cursed. It's a curse. It's not a blessing to be a vampire and live forever. I thought it worked really well.
I think he's great. I also think it's really interesting how Anton, his kind of Renfield manservant character, is running his life. Kind of. Like, he is very much not the, like, lead one in that scenario. He's also not very good at seducing women.
No.
He has to go around and go to their parents and be like, I'm a rich aristocrat. I want to marry your daughter, please.
Yeah, and they're into it. They're, like, trying to get one of their daughters married off because they need it for the family's future. But none of these girls want to marry him, which is crazy because he's so hot and rich.
Esmeralda does, the oldest daughter, who is very shy and inexperienced with men and spends all of her time reading books. She's very into him.
And the parents have decided that she's not an appropriate match because she's too old at like 22 or however old she is.
Because she had been engaged at one point, and then the engagement was broken off by her fiance. So she was decided like, oh, he had your one shot, you missed it, she's fucked up. Yeah. She'll never go again. This movie feels like it has the most to say. Mm-hmm. Flesh of Frankenstein really feels like, we're making a stupid gory sex movie. Let's go make a gory sex movie. There's some lungs in this cabinet that breathe on their own. Look at that for a minute. That's so gorgeous. Cool. But it's like, it doesn't feel like it's saying anything that much.
Yeah. Yeah.
This movie, on the other hand, both Dracula and this Italian aristocratic family are both like crumbling and decaying old wealth that are lying about their status to try to seem more appealing to the other. And Joe Dallesandro is like actively shown to be a communist. He has a fucking sickle and hammer drawn on the wall of his like shed that he lives in.
That's so chic in a way. Like when they fuck in front of the sickle and hammer mural, it's like, wow, I love that severe kind of communist aesthetic.
Yeah, and he's constantly going around being like, I'm not a servant, I'm a worker. There's a difference. You better learn it.
He's also right. I mean, one of the girls that he's fucking is like, when I become a countess, you can come and be the butler. And he's like, there's not going to be any more butlers. This is all crumbling. And he's right. And there's beautiful novels. I mean, there's that novel Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro is about that. It's like about the last butler in England.
I love Remains of the Day.
Beautiful. So it's true that all of this lifestyle, this way of life by the 1920s is crumbling. I mean, now you can go rent a castle in England for like nothing because all of those aristocratic families who've managed to hold on to their estates can't afford them. And so they just rent them out to Airbnb and stuff. I mean, that is a way of life that is truly extinct. So he's right.
There's a great line in this where they go to the like local tavern when they first get to Italy and they're looking for their virgins. And Otto goes up to the innkeeper and asks if this family that they end up staying with and leching on their daughters, if they're very religious, if they follow the Catholic teachings, so that they would have virgin daughters. And the man stops and thinks and says, well, they've got a very nice house. They must be religious.
It's sort of very American to assume that rich people are in some way benevolent.
Yeah.
It's like twisted thinking, very twisted thinking.
This movie does have like a very acerbic, anti-religious, like very classist kind of bent to it, which does remind me of those Buñuel movies. Yeah. But then it has all of the insane sex and rape of like a Jodorowsky movie. It's very bizarre. And the pacing is, like you're saying, very languid. But it's heartbreaking. Like,
Yeah.
after a while, you kind of get annoyed. You're like, Dracula, just go after the older daughter. She's actually a virgin. Please.
Yeah, exactly.
Give
And
him
he does
virgin
eventually
blood.
get it. I think the rapes in this movie will turn off a lot of people. Again, it's not really traumatic to watch them in the way that it is watching I Spit on Your Grave or something like that.
Part
It
of
is
the thing that
unpleasant.
makes them so upsetting to me is that they're so kind of cavalier and casual.
It's a real marker of the time. It's like one of those things where a woman gets raped, but she likes it, you know? Like that kind of gross thing that you see so commonly in 60s, 70s.
Yeah. Joe Dallesandro sees the two middle sisters who are, once again, in an incestuous relationship with each other, and is like, these two girls I'll rape them and they'll like it. So they, like, have a prolonged sexual relationship, and they're actively only interested in each other. And they're also actively trying to keep Joe Dallesandro away from the younger sister, who's 14.
Yes.
And then when Joe Dallesandro kind of starts to cotton on that, this Dracula fella, he's a vampire. He just wants virgin blood. He starts using that as an excuse to rape the 14-year-old daughter, because he's like, he's going after virgins. You don't want to be a virgin. Why don't I take that virginity away from you? And
He has to rape her to save her, which is really fucked up.
so gross.
Yeah.
It's so upsetting. And again, like, knowing Paul Morrisey's very conservative beliefs on most things, but specifically on the Soviet-era Russia at the time that this was made in 1974, it really feels like he's the villain of this movie. That this movie feels very sympathetic towards Dracula, and it really feels like Joe Dallesandro is the villain. But they're equally bad.
And he's very sympathetic towards old world class hierarchy.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a point where one of the daughters says basically, you know, class exists for a reason. My class was created to enjoy ourselves, and your class was created to enable that. And it sort of plays as humor to us, but I don't think it's meant to be. I think that Paul Morrisey maybe felt that way.
It's so weird watching these movies, because if you didn't know anything about him, you'd be like, yeah, this man is absolutely like a lefty fag. And then you watch this and you're like, no, never mind. He would use the phrase lefty fag. Never. Oops.
I will say that in these two movies, which I love, I do miss the trans girls. Like, I would have loved to have gotten a Holly Woodlawn or a Candy Darling, or my favorite Jackie Curtis, who probably would not be appropriate for these movies because she is too funny. I mean, my favorite Paul Morrisey movie is Women in Revolt.
I love Women in Revolt.
I mean, Jackie
I made a
Curtis
t-shirt for
is
Women
so
in
funny.
Revolt years ago. I mean, Candy Darling is my favorite of
She's the most beautiful
Trans
of
Factory
them.
girls. I think was an incredibly talented actress. I would love to have seen them in these movies. I think that would have been a great addition. It's a shame, but also knowing Paul Morrisey, I feel like he would have done something fucking shitty with that.
Yeah, I mean, if I have to watch them get raped by Joe Dallesandro for 2 hours, maybe not. But in a different version of this, where they could be two of the four daughters.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be. I like in a perfect world which is the inside of my brain. There is some weird like Myra Breckinridge Women in Revolt version of Blood for Dracula, which ends with all four daughters getting turned into vampires. At least two of them being played by some of the Trans Factory girls, and then them raping Joe Dallesandro.
Yeah. This movie is slower than Flesh for Frankenstein, but it does have a killer ending.
Yes, it has a very Monty Python-esque ending.
It's the best, where Joe Dallesandro is chasing Dracula and eventually chops off all of his limbs, and it's very cartoony, very Kill Bill, and then stakes him through the heart, and then Esmeralda, who's now a vampire, stakes herself on top of that stake. It's just great. So operatic and over the top, and
the way she
really
just runs into the scene and flinging herself and like revealing her vampire fangs. We've not known that she was a vampire until this point. We've not even known that Dracula has like fed off of her, and that's kind of the reveal that he finally got his virgin. it was her. He's finally, like, able enough to leave, and she loves him. Okay, nope, here's Joe Dallesandro with an axe.
Yeah, it's the best.
We should also mention that, so, these were both shot at the same time in 1973. Flesh was released first with its 3D gimmick. Blood was held to be released the following year in 1974. However, a different movie about similar universal monsters was released also in 1974, which completely changed the release model for both of these movies, and that was Mel Brooks's Young Frankenstein.
Oh, right.
So, in between these two movies being released, Young Frankenstein comes out. I don't think Flesh for Frankenstein did very well outside of being, you know, a New York kind of underground film. They marketed it as a drive-in exploitation movie, like an AIP flick, which I cannot see that going on. These are very X-rated movies.
Yeah, these are very, like, jerk-off on Skinemax at 2 a.m. Yeah, they're very erotic, is the classy way of saying they're pornographic.
So, they make the incredibly interesting choice when marketing Blood for Dracula they changed both of their titles at some point to just Andy Warhol's Frankenstein and Andy Warhol's Dracula. And following the success of Young Frankenstein, they made a poster for Andy Warhol's Dracula that I have up behind me because I'm obsessed with it, that is styled to look exactly like the Young Frankenstein poster and features creatures and scenes that are not in the movie. There is a mummy smoking a pipe. There is a giraffe. There is a man in a suit of armor. There is a kind of Mr. Hyde figure. There's wolves and bats, and it's nothing like the movie whatsoever.
My God.
It also credits Vittorio De Sica as Victoria De Sica. And it was then, after that was not successful and it didn't recoup much of its money, they kept trying, so they re-released it as Young Dracula. And there's multiple Young Dracula posters. They tried really hard to fit these two movies into the Young Frankenstein mold, and it fucking didn't work.
I mean, how mad would you be if you're just a regular person who loved Young Frankenstein and you're like, this looks good, and then you get Blood for Dracula? It's not a one-to-one. I mean, these are really apples and oranges. It's like the feeling of thinking that you're getting a chocolate chip cookie, but biting it into an oatmeal raisin cookie instead.
Yes. I mean, can you imagine, like, in a contemporary setting, going to the theater and being like, I'm here to see Billy Eichner's Bros. I'm here to laugh at a fun little comedy called Billy Eichner's Bros. And instead, you're sat down to a Tarkovsky movie, and you're like,
yeah,
what? What happened?
Exactly. Well, shall we pivot to our favorite game, Have They Seen It, where we speculate wildly whether notable figures have seen these features? Should we do them as a pair, the movies?
Let's do them as a pair. I feel like these were paired.
Has this person seen either of these movies?
Yeah, well, yeah, one or both of them.
Okay. So I have somebody, like you, I saw these in high school, and my introduction to Andy Warhol, so I was a teenager in the 90s, and one year these two movies came out, and they both changed my life. I was obsessed with both of them. I watched them every day after school, and they are Basquiat and I Shot Andy Warhol.
Yes!
I was obsessed with them, and that broke open the whole world of Andy Warhol to me, and I saw Heat and Trash in these movies and all the rest of that. So, in I Shot Andy Warhol, Valerie Solanas, the feminist maniac who shot Andy Warhol, as the title suggests, is played by Lily Taylor, who's phenomenal and an underrated actress generally. Do you think Lily Taylor has seen Blood for Dracula or Flesh for Frankenstein?
Oh, I feel like that's a no. I feel like no. But I would really like her
probably
to.
Probably no, too. Yeah.
She was in not Cecil B. Demented. She was in Pecker, right?
Pecker.
Yeah. John Waters has absolutely seen both of these movies.
Oh, yes.
Many times over.
Yes, absolutely.
I feel like she has not seen them, no. It would... I don't think she would enjoy them.
No? You don't... What kind of movies do you think Lily Taylor likes?
I mean, I feel like under the right circumstances, she could enjoy Flesh for Frankenstein with like a few glasses of wine and some friends, and okay,
Maybe Chloe
fine.
70 is over.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Chloe 70 brings these like the Criterion DVDs of both of these over.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the scenario in which that can happen, but outside of that, I'm not really.
Do you think she likes art movies? I feel like she does.
I feel like she likes art movies. I feel like if someone pitched her Blood for Dracula as an art movie, she would appreciate it about 3 stars worth, but I feel like she wouldn't revisit it.
I feel like she probably doesn't like horror movies. I think that you're maybe right about. Although she is in that terrible 90s, what is it? Haunting of Hill House?
Oh, The Haunting, in which
Haunting.
Owen Wilson gets his head swiped off.
Yeah.
Not the best flick.
No.
I feel like a lot of people who are in horror movies don't necessarily watch horror movies. It's not.
Yeah, they're
always-
just doing a job.
Yeah, exactly.
Jamie Lee Curtis doesn't like horror movies, famously.
A shame. Love her.
I know.
However.
Yeah.
I had someone in mind. And then it slipped out of my mind. So let me keep thinking.
I have
God damn
somebody
it.
else if you want me to keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
Well, you mentioned John Waters. We know that John Waters loved Andy Warhol's movies and saw basically every art film that's ever been made. But what about his friend Divine? Do you think Divine saw these movies?
Oh, I think John absolutely dragged Divine to see these. If not in the theater at the time, then I feel like, maybe on home video in the early 80s.
Yeah.
I feel like
I feel
Divine has watched these movies with John, and I feel like Divine prefers Flesh or Frankenstein.
Divine would Divine's kind of like not much of an intellectual. He was a big stoner, and I don't mean that in a mean way. He was a big stoner. He liked to eat. He was just like a silly, happy person, I think, generally.
Yeah. I mean, he went with John all the time to take acid and watch Bergman movies in the village. So like,
Right.
I feel like he'd be down for Flesh for Frankenstein, and I feel like he would have had a lot of fun with Flesh for Frankenstein.
I agree. Totally agree.
So, as we mentioned, at least one of these 2 films were released on the back end of Young Frankenstein being very successful. And we also know that film's director and co-writer, Mel Brooks, comedy legend and icon, has a penchant for horror movies and has a penchant for supporting underground filmmakers, picking David Lynch up after Eraserhead to make The Elephant Man and picking David Cronenberg up to make The Fly. Do you think Mel Brooks ever saw Flesh for Frankenstein or Blood for Dracula?
100%. Mel Brooks is like a cool down guy.
He has incredible taste.
He does. I think 100%. I don't know that he saw them before he made his Frankenstein movie. I feel like he probably saw them after.
Yeah.
But I think eventually he did see them for sure. And I think he would like them.
I can absolutely see. I feel like Mel Brooks saw these movies in the 90s on Laserdisc. And we're like, wow,
Totally.
what a hoot.
Absolutely. That's absolutely the scenario.
I'm just imagining him and Carl Reiner sitting together and like watching this on Laserdisc, and Carl just being disgusted and not into it, and Mel getting up halfway through to flip the Laserdisc and be like, we're going again, this is gonna be a hoot, let's go. Meanwhile, Anne Bancroft is in the other room being like, god damn it. Not the Warhols again, good god. There's another super famous mid-century icon who was friends with Andy Warhol, and who was even in the film that you just mentioned, Basquiat, playing Andy Warhol.
Ooh.
Do you think that David Bowie ever got around to seeing Flesh for Frankenstein and or Blood for Dracula?
I do. My heart is just like filling over right now because I miss David Bowie so much, and he's so good as Andy Warhol in that movie. What a great performance!
And he played
Jared Harris also plays Andy Warhol in the other movie I mentioned.
Yeah,
they're both great. But
Bowie also, played vampires beautifully in The Hunger.
Yes, I think he's seen these movies. There's no
And
way.
I think he worked with Udo Kier a few times too.
I think so too.
I mean, everyone has. Udo Kier's in every movie ever made.
I think David Bowie would have seen these like in the theater as new movies, possibly.
Yeah.
He was that cool.
Yeah, he was. I feel like he would have dug the shit. I feel like, which do you think David Bowie prefer of the two films?
I actually think he would prefer Blood for Dracula.
I agree. Yeah, I feel like that'd be the one.
Slower and artier, and
it's more somber and sad. I feel like he would relate to it.
Do you know what I want to recommend right now to you, both to you and to the audience?
Please.
So Vogue makes these videos called Objects of Affection, and I watch anything that Vogue puts on YouTube, basically. But these are like notable figures go around their house and show you objects that are meaningful to them. And one of them from 2021 is Iman in their house in the Catskills. And it's so, you will cry all the way through it. She's just like, this is a statue that David bought for me. Or like, here's one of David's favorite books. And it's just beautiful.
Oh, God.
She's so gorgeous. The house is gorgeous. And it makes you miss David Bowie, so much. And it's just stunning.
2022 is just my year of crying over David Bowie. He's finally processing his death.
Yeah.
I saw Moon Age Daydream in IMAX recently.
Oh, I want to see that so bad.
You need to. It wrecked me. The thing that I will tell you, because you need to stay through the credits.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the movie, at the end of the credits, I cried a few times during the movie, but I cried at the end of the credits because the whole movie is built of archival documentaries and footage of him and like interviews he did on TV and stuff like that. And so they have the full access to all of that. And they pulled like a bit of like B-roll snippet from the end of an interview he did in the 70s, just the audio of clearly him like finishing up the interview, about to take his mic off and talking to the interviewer. And so the credits end and you just hear David Bowie's voice say, "Well, thanks so much for doing this with me. I had a lot of fun and I learned a lot about you. And I really hope that you've learned a lot about me and that you've gotten as much out of this situation as I've gotten out of this relationship." And I just lost it.
No celebrity death has ever hurt me as much as Bowie hurt me. That is and continues to hurt me.
Yeah.
Just what a loss. How did we get here? Anyway, happy Halloween. We love you. Thanks for listening. Please rate us on all of the things, Apple especially, I guess. Drusilla, where can people find you these days?
You can find me and my art over at sisterhydedesign.com, and I'm on Instagram at HydeSister. I'm also on Letterboxd if you want to see what kind of dumb, spooky, creepy shit I'm up to outside of the Halloween months. What about you, Josh?
I'm at Joshua Conkle on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Drusilla, what will we watch next week?
Next week, we are finally throwing off the milk in the groceries, and we are finally getting down and dirty to watching the art house horror shocker that everyone's been fucking waiting for us to talk about. It is Isabella Adjani in Zulawski's Possession.
It's been too long. We cannot put it off another moment. Thank you. Bye-bye.
In the back room, she was everybody's darling. But she never lost her head. Even when she was given head, she says, "Hey, babe, take a walk on the wild side." Said, "Hey, babe, take a walk on the wild side." And the colored girls go do-do-do, do-do, do-do-do, do-do, 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 do-do.